Coming to you from the M&M Exterior Studio in Nooksville, Virginia, this is Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle, the introvert's extrovert. She talks to people so you don't have to. For now.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast this week, Lana. I would love for you to introduce yourself. I know you're an artist and you have such a unique gift. So tell everyone who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lana Lechkina. Yes, I am an artist and I'm a quilling artist. And if you've never heard of quilling, it's a very ancient art of paper filigree where everything made is out of very thin strips of paper. I've got some of them, this is sort of, that's how they come. And I've got my highly complicated quilling tools for the 21st century. So a quilling tool and glue. And 10 bionic ones attached to your hand. So that's all you need for quilling, basically. And a lot of patience. Quilling is, it's a very, you have to be patient. It takes time because you create bigger pieces out of tiny little details. You can probably see behind me how intricate you can be. And yeah, that's what I do. I create beauty and take pride in it.
That's wonderful. And yes, for those listening, we'll make sure to put a picture up so you guys can get an example, but it's beautiful, unique artwork. And that's actually what led to you and I talking today because, here at Flushing It Out, we're kind of talking about the real stuff and the emotional stuff and shame triggers. And I was so intrigued because I saw that your artwork, that you have a goal to share it with doctors' offices and places like that where people end up having like a lot of anxiety. I think they used to call it probably white coat syndrome. I don't know if that's still appropriate. And so I thought that was fascinating because I'm all about helping with tools, and whether that's through therapy, coaching, counseling, and unique things. I know mindfulness painting is something that people have done, and now with your artwork. So Lana, why don't you connect the dots? Because I know you've had some anxiety on your own with the doctor, and I appreciate you being willing to share that and kind of connect the gaps.
So I know exactly that moment when my anxiety started. So imagine, I am Russian, so I was born in Russia. So imagine you're 7 years old, you need to go to the dentist, you had a little filling to do. We lived in a very small provincial town. So, and the dentistry in the mid 80s, last century, let me tell you, we didn't have any anesthetics or anything. So everything was just done as is. Not fun. And I remember, you kind of brace yourself, you just put up with that. And so the lady dentists, all messed up and everything, you don't really see the face. I don't know how old she was. So she was drilling out, before they have to fill it in. And then I remember somebody called her name and her hand did that.
Oh, no.
So that drilling machine went through the corner of my mouth into the cheek. And
oh, my gosh.
That was it. That was, oh, my God. I'm sorry. I'm just starting to shake again.
I know. I was like, that is a trigger warning because I know people have that. Ooh.
I didn't see a dentist for 10 years.
I don't blame you.
I just could not. Nothing could make me go even near the building. And it was absolutely horrible. So the first time, I think I was at the first year of the university, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I explained to the dentist and he was kind of understanding, but already at that time we had, a little bit more progress with the dental science and everything. So at least I had the anesthesia done. So still it was never again. And even now, I know when I need to go, even just for a hygiene clean, I know I'm in a different country. I'm in a different century. Here in America, your dentistry is off the charts. Does it help me? No.
Your brain doesn't know the difference.
I explained to my dentist what happened to me. And yes, we talked and I go through at least 3 stress balls because apparently I squeeze their fingers too hard. And yes, I break the stress balls. I metabolize the anesthesia so fast that top me up a few times, which knocks me out for a few days. That's what it is.
And Lana, I wanted to ask about that because you said that when we were doing our pre-call, you said that when your anxiety is high, you metabolize the medicine faster,
and it wears out. So I start feeling the pain again.
Ooh.
So that's not fun, I know, but if you could just see me now, I'm already sweating and I'm shaking. It's just because I'm thinking about those lovely visits. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's trauma right there because that was some major
mentally
trauma.
I understand. I really shouldn't be, that scared because I am in a completely different situation. I am with really good professional doctors. It shouldn't be that. But I can't help it.
Yeah.
And literally, I said, well, the first time I saw a dentist here and I explained, and she was very nice. And she was like, well, imagine you are on the beach. From the bottom of my heart, I love you very much, but it ain't going to happen. You sit in that chair, you have bright lights in your eyes, you hear the noise of the drilling machine, you smell that specific, dental smell that is in the building. How can you imagine? Honestly, how? Mm-hmm. So I've been doing a lot of research about anxiety, especially dental anxiety, because I need it myself. And I prefer not to medicate myself because medication tends to upset everything in my body, and like anesthesia knocks me out for a day or two. So it's like a loss of days. I'd rather be with my kids or doing art, but no, I will be in bed recovering. Yeah. So there is that. And, just to number 2 on all the lists with dealing with anxiety, especially dental anxiety, is distraction. Yes, you can. Number 1 is talking to your doctor. Yes, I did. That didn't work out. So I'm not imagining the beach.
The beach,
yep. I can imagine probably drowning the dentist on that beach, but I'm not really that horrible.
Yes.
So
I don't blame you.
At the moment, what I'm trying to concentrate is like, okay, I'm just going to count something like the imperfections on the ceiling or, maybe like dust bits on the lamps and anything. And I read when you're in a situation like this, when you're like anxious and just need to go through, like, let's say 10 minutes of that, you give your brain very small chunks of work. For example, count the dots, count the shapes, find out how many colors, are used in anything, just to refocus yourself and concentrate on something else. Because I know I'm not going to feel any pain. I know because, they keep an eye on that. The moment I lift my finger, yes, they know they need to do another injection and top me up. But that is not that. It's the emotional, shaky kind of thing that I need to calm myself down and just refocus and get myself through that. Mm-hmm. So that is the point. And I thought when I started doing quilling, you create those pieces out of so many little bits. And I was like, you know what? That would be ideal. You just say it. And I was like, that is a beautiful flower. And I created a number of pieces. And one of my favorite is the sunflowers. And the middle of those flowers are actually mandalas. Count how many brown colors I used, about 12. Count how many different shapes I use. What are the shapes? And they draw you in because quilling is so unusual. Let's say 99% of people that I talk to, they don't even know it existed before they met me. It's the perfect distraction in many, many ways. I know some dental offices now have TVs on the ceilings or on the sides in their offices, but when you have anxiety, the way your brain chemistry works when you're looking at the art or when you're looking at the screen are completely different.
Interesting.
It's not calming you down as much and not distracting you as much as just looking and immersing yourself into something and giving you little chunks of tasks, like literally bite size, like counting. Perfect one, but you just need to concentrate on something. 1 minute, 2 minutes, you take a break. Okay, let's carry on. And it would be just so much better if I could help. So that's why I am so eager, and so I'm hoping that if I can just help somebody else and not just me, to simply put up with those visits. I'm not promising that I'm going to take all your anxieties straight away. No, this is just to help you to cope with that particular visit, just to distract you long enough so you don't even notice it happening. And you don't have to use a lot of medication that in the long run will upset your body anyway,
Yeah.
That's
I
what
love
I'm
that.
passionate about.
That is so great because one, I just know that you sharing your story of the dentist, I know a handful of people who have such anxiety that probably couldn't even listen to this part. I probably should do a disclaimer at the beginning that says, fast forward to whatever minute we're at right now.
Yes, it's a scary, horrible movie.
Yeah. And it's like, and the thing is with trauma, it doesn't matter where you like that it's not going to hurt now. Your brain is still kind of stuck in that. And so I love your tip about the small chunks to focus on.
Yep. And you have to give your brain teeny tiny tasks.
Yeah.
Look at the colors, look at the shapes, count something, focus on something. Just I'm a big believer in how our brain works. We just need to develop it so much better because I don't know. I mean, we can do wonders with our brains. It's just we need to learn to use our own abilities to be able to cope with many situations.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, mentally, I can understand many, many things. Yes, I understand. My dentist, he's been he's been a dentist for maybe 30 years, maybe more.
Yeah.
So decades of experience. Obviously, I'm not going to be his first patient. He's not an intern or anybody, he's got the best drugs, anesthesia.
Yeah.
But still,
I
still feel like, I usually, oh my goodness. Even when I just arrived to the parking lot, I sit for a few minutes and I was like, okay, I'm going. I've got an appointment. Otherwise I will be charged. I need to just step through the door. I'm going to be okay. They're not going to hurt me because if they hurt me like in Russia, I can sue them. So I'm just, just anything to just get myself through the door because it is that bad. I mean, mentally, I understand. Completely different situation. They're not going to hurt me. They're not, they really need to look after myself. I understand, probably from a dentist's point of view, having a very anxious patient is not really an easy thing to deal with. Sometimes, I ask many dentists, just, can you please talk to me? But then I was thinking, if they're talking to me, they're probably getting distracted from what they're doing in my mouth. So I'd rather them be concentrating on fixing rather than being a clown for me,
Yeah.
So.
But you bring up a really good point, though. You thought of something that could help. And if you vocalize it, because they might not talk to you, but maybe if they have an extra dental assistant who's just assisting, that's, helping, but is able to talk or something, I think that speaking up for what we need is an important point, but having those alternatives.
At least that assistant can actually give those teeny tiny tasks.
Yeah.
Look there.
Yeah.
We have only 15 seconds. See how many shapes you can count in 15 seconds before the procedure is over. I mean, how wonderful that would be. It's easier for the brain to process that other than just sitting and grabbing the poor stress balls. They probably buy them in bulk now because of me. And thinking like, oh gosh, I would just wish it will just end. It will just end. And you're stressing and you're metabolizing that anesthesia so much faster. And like, oh my God, I know it's going to hurt soon. So you're preparing yourself for that.
Yeah.
But if you just switch your focus a little bit, it'll be a completely different situation. I'm not saying you will be completely like, oh, yes, I'm on the beach.
This is wonderful.
No. No, but
Yeah.
just to help you go through without too much of your like complete meltdown.
Yeah.
I've had those before.
And that's okay.
To the point where we actually had to reschedule. I couldn't get into
Yeah.
the dental chair. Like
Yep.
literally, I could not. And I was like, I sitting there like with my tears running, like, I just can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry. We'll have to reschedule.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I appreciate you sharing your story, because that's one of those things that I know a lot of people struggle with it. And even, one of my kids, they have a big fear of the doctor. And it's easy for me as a parent to kind of want to go to that place of just get over it. Just get over it. It's not that big of a deal. You'll be fine. But when you hear, especially as an adult, like kind of, all the right things to do, it doesn't take away how hard it is. And I think being able to have more empathy for people in those situations, if you can't personally relate to it, and then also the tools, because at the pediatrician's office, I just like kind of connected as you were talking. They have these murals on the wall and they're very funky. It's like stuff that doesn't make sense in them, like a zoo, but then it's all crazy. And I just realized, oh yeah, we've been in there and we've said, oh, let's count how many bears are here. Let's do this. And I'm just realizing, they probably choose all that because it gives you something.
I think people need to know more about this. I think we're forgetting that, I'm not inventing a bicycle here. I know, I'm just saying that when I started doing the quilling, I thought like, oh my God, this is like, could be a great distraction. It's unusual. It draws you in. All my designs are, like, I'm trying to make them, I don't know, being able to count the things in them, like, the petals on the roses or on my orchids or all the shells that I've done so far. I'm trying to do a lakescape at the moment. So you can just count them, how many shades of blue I've used there. A lot.
Yeah.
So it's anything to just keep you distracted. That's all you need. And if the assistants, like the dental nurse, could just help you out in a sense, like giving you those little teeny tiny chunks, because sometimes it's like your personal self is just like, yes, you look, but it's just a little bit more help, a little bit of a more redirection, would be so much better, instead of talking to, between the dentist and the nurse, what she needs to pass and everything. And I was like, oh my God, just don't show me all those like pointy things and the noisy.
I just keep my eyes shut.
That's just,
my eyes shut.
No, it's scary.
Now, Lana, I know that this was something that you had picked up as a hobby. And you've been doing it more. And so, and as I said earlier, I love presenting outside of the box tools to help us with, our growth, our healing, our mental health. And so you have the helping with anxiety in one area, but how has doing the art impacted you over the years?
So the first time I actually saw quilling, it was, oh my goodness, over 12 years ago back in England. I was always good with doing something with my hands, though funny fact about me, I cannot draw or paint to save my life.
Hey, that's great. That's good to know. We don't have to be good at all the things.
No, but give me paper and glue and see what happens. So I picked up a book. It just caught my attention. Like, I think it was quilling for beginners. I was like, what's quilling? Because, quilting, the beautiful throws and blankets. And I'm like, that's not quilting. It didn't look like quilting. I didn't see any blankets in there. I do like sewing every now and again. So, but then, you have kids and you move countries and kind of forget about all these things. But then when kids are old enough, and you get a little bit more time to yourself, you start thinking, well, I want to do something, but I still want to be for my kids there. You were like preschool, you still want to go to different games and birthday parties, and they have this and they have that. And then my daughter got into gymnastics. It was competitive, so it was a lot of traveling, as you can imagine. So I still want to be doing something as a person, not just a mother.
Yeah.
But, I'm there for my kids because they are still young. They're only 12 and 9. If they have a game, I want to be there for them. If they have a field trip, I'd like to go with them. Well, hopefully they'll start doing field trips again soon. But yes, so found my books, and I, at the very beginning, gosh, it was now maybe about 6 years ago, I just did, a few little cards, few little gifts to my friends. And one of my very dear friends, Nina, she quite physically kicked me out and said, you're doing an event. So you're doing a fair, so you don't argue with your best friend, do you?
No, she has your best interest at heart. We need those people to push us.
I had my first event. Oh my goodness, it was a complete fiasco because it was raining. So you can imagine, and I used to do quilling on canvas, so it wasn't protected by glass.
Oh no.
So it wasn't like raining, it was misty, but still moisture in the air plus paper. Did not look good in the end. But I got that buzz going, and I met such wonderful people there. Yes, I made a few sales on the first event. Can you imagine?
Yay,
so that was really awesome. Cool. But then you meet people and they tell you, for your cards, there are special sleeves. You can order them there and there. Yeah. Oh, have you considered like shadow boxes? You can get them there and there. And I was like, oh my God, it's a completely different thing. So it started as a hobby. So I did a few events, when they did like fundraising, like let's say Special Olympics in our area, for the kids with Down syndrome and everything. So that was like one of my favorite events. I mean, it's always, and then the kids come and they thank you and, just feels so good.
Yeah.
And then about 3 years ago, we got the diagnosis for my dad, and it was brain cancer. When you have cancer in Russia and you live quite far from Moscow, like my mom does, it's basically they send you home to die.
Oh, wow. So
we were given 2 months, which turned into 33. Wow. So everything that's, that I was earning, that I was making, and my husband was helping out as well. So we were sending to mom to look after dad, the medication, the looking after, because she was literally doing pretty much everything on her own.
Wow.
Because dad lost the ability to move, to talk, to do anything for his own pretty fast. And as my sister dearly called him, he was an eating corpse, pretty much. So it was 33 months of not very nice time. So
I'm so sorry.
And in the end, thank you. When it finally happened, it was right in the middle of COVID, so I couldn't travel. So that was a bit of I think feel quite horrible about that because I didn't get the closure and I wasn't there with the whole family and my friends were there. And I still feel quite, I guess angry, though, literally being the financial sponsor, as my mom calls me, was my saving grace, but still that's not enough for me,
Yeah.
So that was hard, but I think when you quill this repetitive motion and when you sort of emerged in a design kind of helped me to just get going, and people were very supportive when they found out about the real cause, what I was doing that. So they were very nice. So they keep me going with those ideas that they wanted me to make. And I was happy to just, be a little bit, distracted and busy. You get yourself busy and keep going. That, you sell this, mom can get that medication. You sell that, mom maybe can get somebody to help, though she was refusing very badly. But that mom is those, kind of old fashioned ladies. This is my husband. Yeah. I'm looking after him. He's mine, he's my family. And I was like, Mom, you can't pour out of an empty kettle, Yeah. You kind of look after yourself, go at least see a hairdresser or something. I'm like, well, I can't live for such a long time. What if? I was like, Mom, it's life. But, it's hard. I'm not being physically there. That was the worst parts when we could see that it was getting to the very end when he was not even eating and that's basically when it's like, like really the end. So I was like, well, we better, but at least, I'm happy my family was there, and I'm happy my friends were there to support mom. So that was good.
Yeah.
But yes, quilling got me going. It's, again, a great distraction. And it's, they say when you do something with your heads and small repetitive movement, it calms you down. So I'm trying to be calm.
Oh, well, it's a process, that, I mean, that's trauma too, of course, just loss and all of this pandemic and not being able to be there. And I mean, I feel like that's not something that's easily.
I don't think I can, I can't let it go, to be honest. I don't know. It's still a bit raw and, but I guess that's life. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, there is art. So for me, art is more like, it's a way of escaping. I never do anything. I know a lot of artists, sometimes they do like political things or, current events or so. No, for me, art is all about escaping. It's all about beauty and elegance. And I think escapism would be like the best description for me.
Well, perhaps because of with your story, and thank you for sharing that about your father and your family in Russia, because of practical things, pandemic, traveling, things like that, not being able to go there, that won't be for probably a while. And so it seems like art could be that gap, maybe that kind of, like you said, doing those things just to kind of help with your healing, that the big healing might not be until you're able to be with your family and have that closure in person. But perhaps this could be kind of that bridge to gap to
it could be. So that's why when, Dad passed, I was thinking, well, what am I doing now? I need to find the purpose again. I know I will support my mom forever. That it goes without any saying, without any doubt, without anything. I mean, mom is mom. She will be always supported, whenever. But I don't want to stop. And, when everything closed down, with all the events closed, I'm like, you know what? I want to carry on. I want to make bigger pieces as an artist. I want to evolve. I want to, I want to create the beauty. And that's when the idea with the magical practices came in. It's just out of nowhere. And I was like, you know what? I am terrified. I need something to distract myself. Yeah. I know I am not the only one, because quite a few of my friends are like, I don't even go see the dentist. And I'm like, well, join the club.
Yeah.
So that's, and I understand it. Maybe not. I mean, these days, we are living amongst, literally scary news all the time. The anxiety level, it's not just from a traumatized experiences, but the way in the situation we are now, that just to go somewhere like, okay, should I not? There is always doubt. There is always fear. There is I need to go, let's say, check myself, at the ladies' doctor. And I'm like, maybe not. But what if? It's always this kind of nagging now. And I was like, well, anything to help you relax, anything to just distract you a little bit. That's what I want to achieve with my art.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
I think I found my little goal. So if it works out, I will be very happy.
Well, I'm so glad you shared that, because, I've joked for years about needing to find a hobby, and I know that I'm not the only one. And so, I'm glad that you shared today for so many reasons with distractions from anxiety, hobbies, and also just, sometimes a lot of the things that I've experienced myself this past year and written about is kind of the whole thing, like, even in our hardest times, there's opportunities. And, for this hobby of yours that you started 12 years ago, and for it to have carried you through supporting your family from afar, and, being able to give back that support to others in a different way, with giving it as a tool to help. I think that that's really a nice full circle, even in the hardest times, that you can really, of course, physically have beauty because of your artwork, but just the beauty of our life experience, just continuing to give back.
Well, I hope, I mean, if it even helps one person, I will be happy if it just something. I mean, I'm not claiming that I'm going to be like, oh, the next best gimmick to help you through something, traumatic, but just a little bit. I'm not asking for more, just to help a little bit.
But I see my kids, especially my daughter, who struggles with the doctor. And I mean, one of her favorite things to do is crafts. And so this kind of, for me, has helped connect the dots and also give me some tools moving forward. So mission accomplished. You've helped one person.
So next time you are at the dentist with your kids, just give them those little tasks, look there.
Yep.
It's anything to distract, anything. Distraction, it works. It's just the way our brain works.
Yep. We need those little tasks. Well, for people to find you, to find your work, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, I am very active on Facebook. I've got my page that is called Just Quill It. And if you see a bright orange flower, yes, that's me. That's my page. There's a profile picture. I try to post every day, and every Sunday I go live just to show how it's done. So whatever project is on my table, Sunday night quilling at 8:00 every Sunday, I go on and we sit, we talk. Sometimes people ask questions, how things are done, what I'm using, how I'm using, what tools I'm using. So it's actually, just a nice kind of, when you go like to those art retreats and you just sit and have a cup of tea and make something and chat. That's sort
wonderful.
of that kind of atmosphere. And if you want to have a look on my website, it's justquillit.com. You can send me messages. I'm sure there are phone numbers somewhere there if you prefer a chat. I'm quite open.
Thank you, Lana. This was very interesting. And of course, I've gotten to see your face and your work. And so this has been so fun to get to see. And I've been
one day we'll have coffee, I'm sure.
Yes, of course.
And that's a wrap for now.
Thanks for listening to Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. For all things Flushing, visit our website at flushingitout.com. This has been a Spitfire production.
That was the greatest thing I've ever heard.